Hi, I'm Casey, shooting a tutorial for ScrappyDoo.com, and I hope that you're ready for another great tutorial. Okay, let's get down to business. First off, what you want to do is you want to have your double layered image. I'm using the gecko, which is the red. I've outlined it with black and filled it in. What you want to do when you're working with multiple layers is you want to have your registration marks. Registration marks are key to doing multiple layers. That way, when you have your vinyl cut and you're ready to go, all you do is you line up your registration marks, you match them up, and then lay your vinyl down, and voila, you have your layers lined up perfectly. This right here is just to give you a visual image on the actual registration mark. What I'm talking about as far as lining it up. It doesn't matter where you place your registration marks, but preferably most people like to do them up high above the layers. But I've done it several times before, and you can't really screw this one up too much. But I'm going to switch over to the cam and go ahead and show you how it's done.
Okay, now that we've got our vinyl cut out, we have our background layer, and then we have our top layer here. Here, let me turn off the light here so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, as you can see, we have our registration marks ready to go. Okay, what I did was a negative removal. I have 2 blank spaces on either square at opposite there, so that way when I apply my tape to the top layer and layer it up, it's all going to become one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll this up a little bit here so I can flatten it out nice and smooth, so that way I'm not going to have any problems with applying the transfer tape. Now, what you would normally want to use is a clear application tape, so that way you can see and lining everything up. Now, everybody has their own technique as far as applying the tape to the vinyl. I bend it, I kind of bow it in half and start in the middle and work my way out when I apply it, and then I go through and squeegee the vinyl in place and get a nice good seal. Now, people use the cards that they get from their distributor and whatnot, but when I'm using the clear tape, I'm using it's basically a chunk of thick rubber squeegee. It's really pliable, and it lets me actually put some pressure on it without ripping the tape or creasing the vinyl in any way. So that's what I use. You might be able to get this I don't know if you can get it at craft stores or not, but most vinyl companies you can get it from, suppliers, supply houses. I'm going to trim the excess tape here. And we've got our top layer ready to be transferred. Excuse the crumbling there. Ready to be transferred onto the bottom layer. Do the same thing with the bottom layer. Give it a nice roll there. What we'll do is remove the backing. And then I'm lining up the first set of registration marks. Now, depending on how big your vinyl is, your decal is, what you're working with, you can only do just one, like that. And for some reason that one didn't show up right, but that's okay, because you've got a knife. People like to start from the middle and work their way out. It's just all pretty much personal preference on how you do it. I don't really think it matters that much. It doesn't to me, though. With a lot of the stuff that has a nice point to it, a lot of tribal and stuff like that, you're gonna kind of work the edges, the point, so that way when you go and you peel back your transfer tape after you applied it, your application tape after you've applied it to something, and that way it doesn't peel up. But that right there is what your registration mark should look like when you've got it applied. So, and if you just do a general cut around the decal, if you're going to try to sell it, it gives it a better look. Ghost line. Time to sharpen up my blade here. Doesn't seem to be cutting all the way through. That's a must. Nice, sharp blade. Crafters like to use X-Acto knives. And there you have it. There is your layered decal ready to go. Hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a lot.
Well, that does it for this tutorial. Feel free to check out my blog at blog.cag101.com for more final tutorials. We'll see you next time.